Well, hi everybody. Hi singers. In case you haven't noticed, you're the most populous group that we have here. I think we had 27 people who registered with singing as their number one thing. A few of those people either aren't here or maybe got assigned to a different instrument, but we're closing in on that number. We have a lot of you. And I want to thank you, if I haven't thanked you already, for bearing with us while we navigate the challenges of trying to sing pop music with 27 voices. Because it's really, really hard to choreograph a pop song to accommodate all of that, and especially making everyone feel like they have a shot at singing lead. There's a lot of training that goes on, and I know that if I were in your shoes, I'd be like, oh, come on, like I don't get my proper time in the spotlight. I'm a singer. Why did I become a singer? Except for like I want people to look at me. So yeah, just thank you for that. To make up for it, I brought Emily Driscoll to share with you some vocal fundamentals, because one thing we didn't have at the last 𝗕𝗿𝗃 was a session that was actually focused on vocal training. The reason why, if you were here this morning, you probably already know, I don't believe in vocal training. I don't really understand it. I've never feel like I've really benefited from it. But as I mentioned as well, Emily has a different point of view. So I wanted to get that perspective. Since it is the more conventional way, I'm definitely in the minority thinking that voice lessons are useless. And she can share kind of the what, where, why, how, some common mistakes that a lot of singers make, and what she does with her students to correct them. She does live in town, but you're not currently offering voice lessons to anyone, right?
My studio is really closed. I think 𝗕𝗿ecie is one of my students, and I have maybe 2 other voice students, but I have like 3 jobs, so I am keeping it very closed right now. But.
Would you be willing to take 1 or 2, if people come to you and say, hey, tomorrow can I get in for a lesson, or just as a one-off thing?
As a seasonally during the summer, my schedule is a lot more open, so I would be definitely down for just summer lessons, with the understanding that when my regular season starts back up again, I'd have to stop.
Okay, yeah, so take that for what it is. I regret that I would be a terrible voice teacher, so I would offer myself.
Maybe not after today. We'll see if I change your mind.
Maybe I'll be a master after today. All that to say. So Emily, how about you introduce yourself, your background as a singer?
Sure.
I mean, you span so many genres and you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, lots of hats. Hi, I'm Emily. So I was born and raised here. I went to school at NDSU. I have my undergraduate in piano performance, and I sang in the concert chorale for a long time, concert choir. Then I also have my master's in conducting, choral conducting. I studied film scoring at Melismas in 𝗕𝗿𝗃𝗃, and I've done just a lot of singing throughout my life. I'm a singer-songwriter. I have a few albums out, and I've only taken 2 years of voice lessons.
Oh, so you're proving my point.
Yes.
Maybe.
Well, it's interesting because I too was like, why am I going to take voice lessons? Because in my head, growing up, my mom was a great voice teacher because she was like, you're flat, right? That's a mom's job. So hopefully you have somebody in your life who does that for you too.
Usually the moms are like, oh, you're perfect.
Oh, no. My mom was like, here's reality. You're very flat. And also, every time I would sing, I was also playing the piano. And so she would say, be louder. And so I am very loud, because I had to learn how to sing over my instrument. So have somebody who yells, you're flat, be louder at you. It's good for you. So when I took voice lessons, I was trying to fit into a classical genre to improve my singing when I was in graduate school. And up until then, I'd had very limited experience with voice lessons, because I'm assuming us here, and you for sure, just naturally good singer, naturally good intonation. I know how to go into different styles. And I wasn't going out intending that I was going to sing Ave Maria. That's not what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to do more of the Adele style stuff. So, I know you haven't made your mind up yet. I'll never do you wrong, right? That's the style I wanted. So I thought voice lessons were going to get in the way of my own unique sensibilities and my own unique voice.
And you're not crazy for thinking that.
Yes.
Because a lot of classical singers, if they tried to sing the Adele bit that you just sang, would sound ridiculous.
Right.
They'd be like, oh, I know.
Right.
I can't even imitate it because that's not my training and background.
And most teachers are not willing to bridge the gap between genres.
Yeah, they smash the pop out of you because they're like, oh, it's too pinchy sounding. Open up more and make it. Yeah.
So in my worldview, my ethos, I've kind of developed a strategy for approaching voice, and ultimately, the truth is, if you want to sing for a long time, you need to have some classical training, because rock stars, pop singers, they retire at 40. Opera singers, they sing until they're 60. And the only reason that is because their voices are then conditioned to last. If you sing with poor technique and you sound great, more power to you. You do not have to change a thing. But be aware that you are going to be shortening the lifespan of your voice. That's just the way it is. So my goal is that I'm able to teach classical training techniques so that you can use them to prolong your voice, but you still get the sound that you want. When I'm singing Adele, when I'm singing pop music, I'm using classical training, but I'm just allowing my flavor of pop to come through. But there's a few things that you need to understand in order to get that classical training. So basically jumping in, the first thing you need to learn is how to breathe. So many of us, we think breathing, we're like, oh, I can breathe, I'm good at it, excellent. But breathing for singing is very different than breathing for talking. And one of the biggest differences is this. You hear that sound, right? What do you do when you're telling somebody to take a breath? You go, right? You make that noise. That's how we like condition ourselves. What does that do? First of all, it creates tension, and also you're drying out your vocal cords. Sometimes you want to throw in a loud breath here and there in pop music. It's just like a cool moment. I do it a lot. Don't listen to me sing later and be like, hey, I heard you doing it. You know, all of this is like, once you learn the fundamentals, you can ignore them if you want to, but you got to practice. The reason you don't want to make that sound during your breath is because it means your vocal cords are engaged. And when your vocal cords are engaged, that's what creates sound. If you relax, like if you swallow and relax your vocal cords and then you take a breath, it's silent. And it should be, because that means you're not going to end up coughing halfway through your song because your vocal cords are super dry and you have to drink 8 bottles of water in a set because you're just drying out your vocal cords with your breathing. So the best way to do this is actually force yourself to start by breathing through your nose when you are practicing. It's going to take longer because you don't have as much time. You don't have as much of a space that you can fill up when you're breathing through your mouth. It's faster, more efficient. But breathing through your nose will teach your vocal cords how to relax during the intake of air. So as weird as it is, when you're doing your vocal warm-ups, make sure you're giving yourself enough space to breathe through your nose until you've kind of felt like you've mastered that. And then you're going to step into actually breathing with your mouth, but watching and listening for any signs of tension. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Does that make sense to you guys?
I know it's like boring. Breathing is so boring. I spent an entire semester studying breathing and posture, and it was boring, but it changed my life. I was 24 years old, and when I focused for an entire semester on breathing and posture, it revolutionized my voice. Like, I'm not even kidding. It changed everything. It was wonderful.
You mentioned posture just now.
Yes.
Say a little more about that.
So what probably the biggest pitfall that I see in women, I'll get to you in just a second. Yeah, don't forget, okay? The biggest problem I see in women specifically, I can't take this off. I'm just gonna stand up for a second. May I stand up?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the biggest problems I see is that we collapse our chest, all right? So we kind of stand like that. And it's like maybe we have our weight more to one side or more to the other. And when you're singing, you don't want to stand up as a pop singer and be, right, that just feels really, really weird. But what you do need to remember is that your lungs are a space that is defined by how much space you give it. If you're standing and you're not expanding your rib cage, you could be taking the deepest breath possible and you are literally cutting yourself off at the knees. You just physically cannot fill up that space. So you want to pretend that it's called 𝗕𝗿𝗶𝗹𝗃, this clavicle, you want to have lifted to the sky. And you can even sing a little bit like this. If you need to move your posture, that's fine, but you keep this up. You're loud, you're proud, because that literally creates more space. So the first thing you want to focus on is, okay, am I collapsing or am I expanding? And of course, when we're collapsing, we also are doing that because we're hiding, right? We're all a little bit nervous. The more nervous you are, that's fine, but if you want to sound good, do this. Like, you can choose to collapse and to hide, but if you want that bigger voice, if you want more breath, if you want more power, you just have to choose to be bold and stand up a little straighter.
One thing that occurs to me as you're talking about posture in particular is like the value of filming yourself while you're singing.
Absolutely.
So one thing I said this morning was, yeah, I don't really believe in voice lessons, but I do believe in practice. I do believe in running the tunes over and over and over because drilling makes you better. Well, if you're drilling, but you don't realize the mistakes you're making while you're singing, that's not really going to help you, or it's just going to reinforce the bad habits you already have. So some of the most instructive moments for me in my practice room were when I brought out a camera, a full body camera, because you want to see your whole body, and you can catch yourself slouching or doing any number of terrible things, including gestures, which are, you know, a whole other beast. They're not really related to vocal technique as much as they are stage presence.
Yeah.
But yeah, filming yourself is super, super great. And I would love for actually all of you guys to do it, because it's not that I've seen something terrible happening that I think you guys need to catch, but you will see things yourself that look ugly or look wrong or look like what you just described. And you want to make sure that you're correcting for those. It saves you a lot of time.
If you don't have a vocal instructor, you need to be your own vocal instructor. And it sounds like that's what you do too, is you know, take notes for how to improve yourself, and you're always listening for ways to get better. And the truth is, every single one of us in this room can get better. I'm still working on how to improve as a singer. I'm going to work on that for the rest of my life. So being open to that, and that's probably step one, right? Is that attitude of being willing to say, hey, maybe I'll try it.
Yeah. So when you sit down with a new student, as if you're taking them right now, what are the things, like how do you diagnose somebody's voice as needing one thing or needing another? Like what are the things that you're looking for when a new student sits down with you?
I love that, and I will answer that in just a second, but you had a question and I wanted to jump to it. Yeah.
You said you had to breathe for a whole semester.
Yeah.
So you were like teaching yourself to breathe. Before, were you like not breathing or something?
I was breathing incorrectly. I was making a lot of noise when I breathed. I was breathing with poor posture, so I wasn't allowing myself to really have as much air in my lungs as I needed. And I was not exhaling during singing efficiently, which is something we can get to later. But yeah, I mean, I was singing and I stunted pretty good, but when I was focusing on this technique, it allowed me to sing so much better and so much more naturally. If that makes sense. I wasn't having to try so hard. So diagnosing students is really actually super fun, because there's a few little things you can listen for. So the first one is, do they have vibrato in their voice? The absence of vibrato is the signal that there's something wrong with your vocal mechanism. That doesn't mean that you need to have this much vibrato all the time.
Because vibrato is that wobble.
Yes.
It's technically going in and out of the pitch that you're aiming for.
Correct.
But it's more subtle than that. You don't think of it as going out of tune or going off pitch.
You can have a wide vibrato or a narrow vibrato. So when you are...
Is it pretty set for people? Like it's hard to change it?
No, you can definitely change it. Yeah, with a training, I think.
It'd be really hard to change. I have a really narrow vibrato. It's very rapid.
Yeah.
And man, I've thought about trying to change it, but I'm like, that's too much work.
Well, there's two things that vibrato can come from, and one is from a natural free flowing. It's just like the result of the singing process, and other vibrato can actually come from too much tension. So it's interesting hearing people sing. Like, have you ever been super, super nervous and you sing and all of a sudden your voice has a ton of vibrato in it? That's because you're so tense. That's a result of tense vibrato. Whereas when you hear classical singers with their super wide, whoa, that is the result of a lot of relaxation, but not the style we like, right? So what
does no vibrato mean then?
No vibrato is just pure tone, and it's not a bad thing. But when it's a younger singer and I hear no vibrato, and I'm listening to them sing an entire song with absolutely zero vibrato in their voice, that tells me they also have tension. It's weird. It's like, it's just a flag. It's not necessarily going to tell me everything, but a lack of vibrato in a young student or a beginner student's voice tells me they have a lot of tension. So that's the first thing that I listen for.
And how do you begin even working with that? Do you get them to like shake it out, or what are the exercises you do for someone who doesn't have vibrato?
It definitely varies by personality. Some people, it takes about 2 months for them to like let their wall down to let me actually even begin to really work with that. I'll say it from the beginning, but I have to earn their trust before they're gonna like actually be comfortable with me. And then some people, I know this is wild, but keep a water bottle on you and swallow. Lots of swallowing. It's an automatic release of tension. I'm sure you guys already know that. Shaking around, doing that kind of stuff too. And then also just being really clear that the first 2 months of voice lessons, I don't need you to sound good. I just need you to listen to what I'm telling you to do. Yeah. Because the way that you've been doing things works. You're not stupid. You're doing it because it works. But I'm trying to show you a slightly different and a slightly better way. And it's going to take you a minimum of 2 months to be able to incorporate these healthier vocal habits before it actually starts to sound good or the way you want it to sound too. You have to be okay with not being good or sounding great. And then eventually, as you learn these techniques and they become a little bit more natural, you can start finding your natural voice again.
Yeah, being willing to take risks and sound bad is super important. I've talked a little bit with background vocalists in this group and at different times about how background singers shouldn't sound like lead singers. And they could, even if you highlighted them to be the lead singer singing the way that they're doing backgrounds, it would sound kind of weird. Because their job isn't to be this artistic, like super expressive thing. Their job is to match the pitch and to match the person who's singing lead, which could be a little awkward.
Yeah.
But that awkwardness, like I can't emphasize enough how much you guys have to push past that awkward phase, that like the sounding bad. Because I mean, everyone in this room, if you were willing to sound bad for a year, like I promise you next year you would sound amazing.
It's
if
true.
you're taking those risks appropriately that Emily's talking about.
Yeah. So it's interesting too, talking about this tension that I'm hearing. Tension is the #1 enemy of good sound. Now, singing is supposed to be the most natural thing in the world. Every single culture in the history of humanity has had singing. So most of what I do in vocal lessons is teaching people to unlearn all of their bad habits. 90% of that is tension. So a few different things you can do is singing in front of a mirror, and you're going to watch the height of your shoulders. And you're not even going to be critical of yourself or so I'd have to change that. All you're going to do for the first 2 to 3 months is just be observant. You're just going to observe what you see, okay? And then after you're in a place where maybe you're a little bit more naturally calm, you do some stretches before you sing, you're going to watch your shoulders and you're going to notice them. Okay, they're not quite as tense. They're a little bit lower. That's good. Watching yourself in the video, a very good way to monitor that, as well as in a mirror. And then the next thing you want to do as you're doing your vocal warm-ups is you're going to just kind of put your hands up here. A lot of this, you're going to massage your jaw. And in order to have a relaxed throat, you're going to start with your jaw. Because if you have a tense jaw, the rest of your body will follow. So relaxed jaw, and you guys can echo after me. We're going to do a really lazy, relaxed ya, 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 ya. Ya, 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 ya. Breathe in through the nose. Ya, 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 ya. Breathe in. Ya, 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 ya. And off. And we would just do a lot of that. And you're just listening to your body, okay? So many things are happening when you are singing. Your entire body is your instrument. It's not just from here to here. It's literally from your toes to the top of your head. That whole thing is your instrument. And you need to understand that it's not just this you're listening to. You're listening also to your stomach muscles. You're listening to your jaw. You are aware of so much happening. I once wrote out a list for a student of all the things that you have to think about in order to have complete freedom in how you want to sound, right? You want to be able to focus on the vibe and your words and your intonation, like the style, maybe the emotion. But in order to do that with freedom, you have about a list of 25 things you actually have to already be doing naturally, that it's just on autopilot at that point in order for you to freely access all of that. It's a lot. So, taking it a little bit at a time and being willing to sacrifice a little bit of your pop style or a little bit of that emotional interpretation just for the sake of your technique for a period of time. Or even just when you're practicing on your own. If you've got a gig coming up and you just can't afford to sound bad, you can step back into those bad habits if you need to. And then when you're practicing, use the better techniques that will help you prolong your voice. So the tension is the enemy of good sound. One of the things I really want to focus on with pop, because a lot of people don't talk about this, is your vocal box, your larynx right here, right? So if you want to just find it on your neck, when you're talking, you can go, go ahead. You feel it moving up and down? Yep. So a lot of us use tension to get to high notes. I hear it all the time. There's one reason why. It works, but it's not very reliable. It might work one day, and the next day it does not work at all. So when I'm trying to hit a high note, maybe I use tension, and you're going to feel when it's tense, it rises. And I might go, I came in like a wrecking ball. Right, I hit the notes, and I'm very, very tense. Now, I'm going to literally force myself counterintuitively to relax it to a neutral position. You don't want it to be really low. You don't want it to be really high. You want it right in the middle, and it feels so weird. It literally took me 1.5 years to do this comfortably. But all of a sudden, can you guys hear the difference? I came in like a wrecking ball. You guys can hear like, I came in like a wrecking, as opposed to, I came in like a wrecking ball, right? Yeah, so now in order for that to happen, it's not just like, oh, I click one switch and it's perfect. The other step to having relaxed vocal tension is you need to anchor your voice's power to your stomach muscles and not to your larynx. So you really need to make sure you're using the same muscles that you use to do a sit-up. Those are the muscles that you must use when you're singing, especially if you want to belt, and you want to belt without tension. So you can, I don't really know how to explain it, because for so many people, it's like you spend a long time just figuring out what language works for them, because your stomach muscles, your diaphragm, all that is things you can't even feel. You cannot feel your diaphragm. I don't know if you know that, but you cannot feel it. And yet it is so important in singing. So everyone has to kind of come up with their own language. But
well, for that really grounded breathing, the thing that comes to mind is not something I learned in college, actually. It's something I learned when I was training for giving birth, actually.
Oh, wow.
Because I was doing this prenatal fitness program online that was really focused on like the whole body, but especially the core, because when you have a baby growing out of your belly, like your weight is distributed in a very strange way.
Totally.
And your abs are separating, so it's like, how do I survive without wrecking my abs? And they did what they called candles breathing, where you breathe, everyone can do this right now even, I should uncross my leg, as if you're blowing out like 30 to 100 birthday candles. And so you let your belly go out on the inhale, and then on the exhale, you really add that force to propel that voice forward. Now, I don't know if that conflicts with anything that you learned.
No, that's exactly right.
But that engagement is how, when I was pregnant, they had me lifting things. That's how they had us getting out of bed. Like that candles breathing was really key for everything. And I've carried it forward from there, because it's a habit. Like once you have that habit, you can't really shake it.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. And the relationship between the flow of air, like how fast it's coming out and how much pressure behind it, that's called subglottic pressure. And you can have a lot of different levels of subglottic pressure, and that will impact how you sing as well. But the first few times you try singing with your anchored candle breathing instead of anchoring it here, you're gonna sound terrible. And it's gonna come out and it's gonna squeak, and it's gonna be like, what? And it's gonna feel so weird. But if you can keep pushing past that and teach your vocal instrument how to re-navigate, how to negotiate with each other, you'll find a new equilibrium, and it'll be really exciting that your singing will just become more natural and a lot more controlled.
That's cool. Another thing I noticed when you were doing the Miley Cyrus clip earlier was your vocal placement changed a little bit, because you were trying to exaggerate for a fact what you were going for. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about vocal placement, because it's not something I knew much about until college. Oh yeah. And it is something that the awareness of has really transformed singing with. So
vowel placement is key. It's crucial, and I learned this very much as a soprano singing in choir, where the higher you get, the more consonants don't matter, whatever, and the more forward you can keep your vowels, the easier it is to shape the sound that you want. It's very, very
weird. What does forward mean? I mean, like we use these words, this like language, kind of to describe sound and sensations and like the physics of the face. Yes. Can you describe what forward means just a little bit?
Absolutely.
And demo it too.
Yeah. So American language, American English, and I'm going to exaggerate, it's very in the back of your throat. Can you guys say hello?
Hello.
How you doing?
How you doing?
You feel it in kind of the more middle to back. Now we're all going to pretend to be British, okay? Hello.
Hello.
Careful spot of tea.
Careful spot of tea.
That's forward,
my
okay?
Gosh, that's such a great way to demonstrate it. I love that.
It's really forward, and it feels weird. But remember how I said, hey, breathing for singing and breathing for speaking, two totally different things. Consonants and vowels for speaking, consonants and vowels for singing, two totally different things. I just tell my students, pretend you're British, and it doesn't matter what you're singing. That forward placement, that more in the front of your mouth, is going to feel better. It's going to have a better desired result. I'm trying to think if I can come up with a good example. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. I exaggerate, right? Now I'm just going to throw some forward British speaking. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Did you guys hear a little bit? I felt like I had more control. I don't know how well that translated, but that's just a good example. For a couple rules. ER, never, ever, ever, ever. It's always UH, always. The R is always implied. Never saying R.
I disagree, but
Can you show me an example of where you do your R's?
I'll have to get back to you on that.
But you know what? There's also truth, right? That stylistically, maybe there's got to be a time when you're absolutely right. And
Well,
R working.
a lot of country is really cute, like the
That's true.
𝗫𝗍𝗃𝗏s record. I know Alyssa really likes that record. She's doing the country R.
That's true.
And it's so sweet. Like it's exactly called for in the style. So
You're absolutely right.
Places them really forward. From what I remember, it's just it's a diction thing. Diction is something I would love to like go on maybe some other time.
And that is so genre specific.
So genre specific, and that's where classical singers really fall into a pit because they're trying to apply this really like formal, ba 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 ba, like kind of singing to something that needs to be super relaxed and chill and fun and like kind of sexy, if I could say that. You know?
Yeah.
And that like classical style just isn't really perceived as being that. So I don't know. Do you, when you talk or think about placement, I was thinking about this as you sang, Hey Jude. Are you also thinking about your nose at all? Does nasalness come into play at all in your lessons or in your own nasalness?
I don't know if anybody else here grew up in the age of the Disney Channel singers, and they were so nasally, and it was just like cringe, right? And we were like, I'm not going to sound like that. So if you were anything like me, I tried to like shut off that area of my resonance.
Yeah, until I realized Amy Winehouse's entire sound is nasal.
Yes.
And so it can sound really, really cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So
you don't have to lean into it as much as they did, right? I absolutely do think about that. And it's still something I'm working through to this day because I just automatically like don't do that. My mom was like, you sound too nasal, you know? So, and I probably did. So using that resonance, I just think about it, the sound going through like my teeth right here. Like that's like the vision that I have. And then recording myself singing and experimenting with levels of nasal tone. And then I'm able to say, okay, when I go, hey Jude, don't make it bad. I don't like that, right? Okay, that's too nasally. Now I know what it feels like when I'm too, like for my sensibilities, right? Hey Jude, don't take it bad. That's more my medium. Okay, that feels really good. Also be aware that if you have allergies and you've got sinus problems, good luck, because it's going to change how you sound when you access that space.
Does it depend on where you are in your range too? I mean, because when I think about trying to hit low notes, which I feel like I've been trying my whole life to sing lower, and only through age and just like good old-fashioned singing more songs have I been able to relax into it. I feel like the relaxation of tension that's required to sing low notes has no business going anywhere near nasally or even forward placement, because what I know, like one exercise I learned from a coach in New York to sing lower was to literally like go on your belly on the floor and push up into what's called like a Sphinx pose in yoga, and just stick your tongue out, more to the point of being willing to look stupid and sound ridiculous.
Yes.
And just go like,
That's absolutely.
Like super guttural, super like,
Yes, that is exactly what you need to do.
Okay, say more.
Yes.
Say more about how I'm right.
You are right, very good. And do you feel like you're more of the alto or mezzo or?
Okay, so the placement in soprano, alto, tenor, etc., I've heard is more based on color than it is on range.
It is.
So I've always been placed on alto, but it's not because my voice always sounds low. It's that when I sing low, I sound low.
Yes.
Which sounds dumb, but like I sound like I'm hitting a low note. It's really not that low. I do not have a low range whatsoever, but it sounds lower than some of you might sound on the low. So anyway,
it's all about the color of your voice. Like, I know a lot of people who can sing alto and all the way up to soprano 1, but their voice shimmers when they're in that mezzo range. That means like in the middle between alto, which is low, and soprano, which is high.
Good shimmer?
Good shimmer.
Good shimmer.
Like, it's just really hard to define, but you just hear like that's where their voice's natural qualities are best on display. Yes?
What does color and shimmer mean?
That's a great question. Color refers to whether a tone feels flat or not. I'll try to show you an example. La, as opposed to la. It's really, really hard to demonstrate. Like if I'm singing low, la, as opposed to a higher note, la. So there's just like a difference in tonal quality. And this is one of those things where I talked about language is really, you have to get to a place where you have a language with your student that you understand.
It was so frustrating. The color, imagine this, imagine a string is doing this. I
Right,
was like,
you feel
guys,
this, yeah.
like, speak English. It's so weird.
And it takes so long. Some people, I say color, and they're like, I know exactly what you mean. And some people I say, your rate of subglottic pressure is too intense and you need to lighten up.
That's me.
And then they're like, I understand. So unfortunately, it would probably take me about another month of knowing you before I could fully answer that question. But it's something that if you listen to people and you start listening for their quality, it just describes sort of an almost indescribable warmth is another word people might use. I hope that's...
Is that where someone would feel comfortable in their range?
Yes.
Like the shimmer, okay.
Yes.
Because when you did the shimmery thing earlier, I was like, oh, that's like a very sweet spot
Yes.
for you.
It feels good. And some of us, for me, I really, really wanted to be a soprano 1. So like, I was like, I'm a soprano 1 because I can sing super high. And it was getting over my ego and realizing I love soprano 1, but I feel great when I'm mezzo.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of ego, one thing that I had to admit to myself circa 2013 was the fact that I didn't have Adele's voice. I didn't have so-and-so's voice. I could imitate them until the cows come home, but I was never actually going to sound like them. And it was around that same time where like learning how to figure out like what I was supposed to sound like the best version of me. It sounds so corny and like self-help, but the best version of me was really like, it was either that, I was going to go for the best version of me, or I was always going to be imitating something I would never even reach. I don't know, so it wasn't helpful to be always trying to sound like someone else. Do you ever work with your students on that like discovery process? How do you find out what their home base is vocally, if that makes sense?
I haven't had an opportunity to do that with anyone yet, although there was one student that I was working with trying to find her confidence, which I think is very closely tied to your home base is your confidence. You know, when you finally really do step into your truth and your confidence, that's when your voice probably is going to start really shimmering. And she actually had a much higher voice than she was letting herself sing. Yeah. But she was really comfortable with low. And she had a beautiful low voice. But just a lot of confidence building exercises. And I'd actually like to try that with you guys today, talking about sounding dumb. This is one of the funnest exercise I do with people. When you are trying to sing high, a lot of it is you're psyching yourself out. It's so intense and it's so scary and you don't really want to do it. So like just the courage to go for that high note is like mentally 90% of the battle. So with this particular student, she had gotten the lead in a musical and it was a very big deal and she had to sing this high note and she just was like, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. So first we're gonna work through like, okay, that word is outlawed in here, we're not gonna use that word. And eventually we stepped into this exercise where I said, we're just gonna do vocal sirens. A vocal siren is like, woo, woo, woo. So you guys are all gonna be ridiculous and we're gonna do that together, right? When my hand goes up, I want us to go up, and when it goes down, we're just gonna do that, ready? Woo, woo. Very good, very good, okay. So you guys, I don't know if you realize this, but you know your larynx is used in speaking and in making all sorts of noises as well. So this time I said, okay, so-and-so, we're going to do that, but when I stop, when I go like this, you're just gonna keep whatever tone that is.
Whoa,
but
scary.
Terrifying, and you're like, there's no way I'm gonna sing high. That's fine, you don't have to sing high. You're just gonna, wherever you are, you know you can do it, so you're just gonna, and the one thing I ask is that you keep that kind of relaxed feeling. You don't let your larynx suddenly go, you don't let your body go, you're just gonna, so this is what we did, and I'll demonstrate it for you, but then I want you guys to try it with me, but it's gonna be so loud, but here we go. Woo!
Holy cow.
Yeah, she's saying a full 6 half steps, so 3 notes higher than she'd ever sang ever. Because what did we do? We took away the mental aspect of it. You're about to sing high. No, I can't. It was just, we're gonna do this little exercise. We're gonna keep it relaxed. So now, you guys are gonna do it with me, and it's gonna sound so bad, but it's gonna be fun, okay? And the camera, we're gonna blow out the audio. We're gonna blow out our mics. Yes. All right, so here we go. When I go like this, get ready to just sustain with that open jaw, okay? Did some of you sing higher than you've ever sang before? Did it feel higher? We need to do it by yourself and you can hear yourself a little bit better. Do it a little bit more And it's a good way to anchor your stomach muscles as well. Let's do it one more time, all right?
Okay.
Shake off that energy. Everybody take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, swallow. Take another breath. Yep, a lot of you were higher.
Dang.
I don't know if you can tell, but I could tell. Did you feel that?
Yeah, that was wild.
So it's kind of a fun thing to do. The next thing you want to do is then go to a piano and be like, how high did I
How high did I actually go?
I really want to know.
Are there any other go-to exercises, especially ones we might be able to do right now, that really troubleshoot like tension or that psychological component?
Yes. So when we are adding motions in, that's called kinesthetics.
Oh, we did that earlier with our singers. We were like
Super.
trying to get some expression on
Yes.
our like rock band singers. Yeah.
It is a really good way, scientifically proven, to help you get out of your head. So one of my favorite exercises, 𝗫𝗍, 𝗫𝗍, 𝗫𝗍. And when you go, oh, you literally have to like throw, pretend you're flinging pasta at the wall. And you'll see how that really helps you make that jump too. Let's try that together. Here's our note. The words are 𝗫𝗍, 𝗫𝗍, 𝗫𝗍. 1, 2, 3, go. 𝗫𝗍, 𝗫𝗍, 𝗫𝗍. Everybody has to do the movements though. Here we go. 𝗫𝗍, 𝗫𝗍, 𝗫𝗍. There you go. That's another good one to get yourself out of your head.
Nice.
I will demonstrate another. This one is a little bit harder to do, and it's one of those, it's good for your ego because you're not going to sound great the first few times, so that's not the point. It just, you're going to bounce on the tips of your feet, and you're going to go, yo, right? It's not going to sound great, but it's another way to just kind of keep it up here, keep it really like light. Do you guys want to try that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So just going to bounce up and down, and it's hard to keep that buoyancy in your voice, but be aware we don't want, yo, we don't want to hit every single note. You're just throwing it up in the air and just seeing what happens. Ready? 1, 2, ready? Yo, and down, yo, and down, yo. There you go. The one other thing I want to talk about, you guys can take a seat. With pop music, this is probably the biggest thing that I had to work on. Blending your higher range with your lower range, or maybe you call it your head voice with your chest voice. When I was singing that Adele earlier, I know you haven't made your mind up yet. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear that break? That's very stylistically popular.
She does that constantly.
I do.
No, not you, Adele.
Also,
But-
she does, yes. But it's fun, right? I mean, you do that too.
Yeah, and Adele in particular, a lot of pop singers today, they'll flip it on a vowel. So
Yes.
like some
Yes.
kind of, mid.
It's actually like
syllable.
yodeling. If you've
It is a
practiced
little like
yodeling,
yodeling,
it's
yeah.
a lot of the similar mechanisms.
Yeah.
That is one of those areas where you just have to try it with different vowels, different forward, different relaxing that larynx, and let yourself make some mistakes, and eventually it'll start to feel more natural. But if you try to do it with tension, this might be a disaster. I know you haven't made your mind up yet.
Oh yeah.
Right? You have to be willing to let it go from here to there.
Yeah.
It's a quick drop. It's a quick relaxation. So do it alone in your shower when you don't have to be self-conscious. I won't make you do it right now.
Yeah. Vocal placement is tough. I feel like that's something that it takes a lot of massaging over the years.
That's the perfect word, massaging. There is a literal break. It's about 3 to 4 notes long in everyone's voice, and you just have to work that area, and eventually the muscles that are responsible for your vocal production will learn all the 7 billion different things they have to do, literally, internally, intrinsically, in order to make it happen smoothly. I think for most women, it's around E, F, F sharp, G, that area, right around middle C, but it is different for every singer, so that's just a general rule of thumb. Go find your area where your chest tries to break into your head, and specifically work on exercises that go over that area a lot. That'll be so helpful for you. I had to do that a ton.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are there any questions on vocal fundamentals that we have? I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more on the showmanship side.
Oh, sure.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I'm very judgmental in that area. But I want to make sure that anything related specifically to technique, you guys have your questions answered. Though, 𝗚𝗏.
So if you have a song that is like you're singing the note where you break,
Yeah.
and you're like singing that note repeatedly,
Yeah.
and it's like hurting because you're in tension, how do you get rid of that tension?
Great question. This is so common. So what I would recommend is, first of all, you have to decide that you're going to do it differently because what you're doing right now isn't working. So you just have to make the conscious choice that you're going to be uncomfortable. And then what I would do is I would actually practice trying to do it in your head voice and being comfortable with it not being as punchy as you want for two reasons. Number one, you can always make your head voice more supported and more strong through good technique. And reason number two, it's better for you to hit a note and be a little less powerful than for you to go for the note in chest and it's a bad experience all around and you can't do it and you break, and it's like you just have to sometimes accept like this is just the way it is.
For now.
For now. Yeah. So if we were talking about 6 months from now, you know, we talk about, okay, let's do these exercises. Let's stretch that range. Let's work on anchoring it down here. Let's work on subglottic pressure. But if it's a short-term goal, just switch to that head voice and do your best to forward vowels. That'll help it make sound stronger. Is if you just think more British, that'll make it stronger. And that's probably the best advice I could give. So I hope that helps.
Cool. Any other questions on vocal fundamentals?
Cool.
Don't be shy. William, got anything? Moss, Rachel?
I feel like I just talked a lot. So
No, it was great.
Do you have any experience in like screaming and vocal fry and that?
Oh my
type of
gosh,
stuff?
I wish. I actually practiced 𝗀𝗍𝗍.
Really?
Oh yeah, but it is so hard to do well. There are very few people who can do it well. Oh gosh, there's one. I don't know, maybe you know them, but there's like a band that my husband listens to, and they like give classes on how to do 𝗀𝗍𝗍 because they can do it in a way that prolongs their voice and they're not like, you know, by 25 not able to sing anymore. I'm gonna ask Alec who it is, and you can tell him.
Cool.
I'll pass along the information.
I'll send it to you, William. I will say, on the vocal fry front, this probably isn't related so much to your question, but I suddenly came to mind an exercise that was used for me to actually expand my lower range. Vocal fry was used as a tool to expand lower range. My voice teacher in college had me like literally just fry the low notes that I was aiming for.
Interesting.
And I know you might be like appalled.
No, not.
But the idea was to release tension and be okay sounding bad, probably.
Yeah.
And then I think that little extra I don't know. This is where my lack of technique fails.
No, you're right though.
But it was an interesting exercise, and it kind of did the trick for what I was working on.
If you want to access lower notes, all you have to do is sing a lot more lower notes. I have increased my lower note range by about 2-3 half steps for one reason only. I sing him lullabies at night, and I have been using a melody that goes da da dum da dum dum. And I've just been doing that every night for like, how old is he? 7 months? So like, if you want, that's exactly the same thing. And sometimes my voice breaks and it's...
Interesting.
But you know, it's my kid, he doesn't care.
That's wild. I kind of think that like your low range is somewhat set though, based on the physics of, because
It can expand it can expand quite a bit.
I mean, I've seen it expand for me over time.
Over time.
But
There's a, at some point you're never gonna go past that.
I literally think some of it is aging though.
Oh, also
if
that,
it's-
yeah, for sure.
Which is helpful. Like mature voices sound better in my experience, unless they're fried out by bad technique, I guess.
Who here is under the age of 16? Anybody? Okay, awesome. Couple little things. When you are under that age, your voice is naturally going to have a breathier element to it. And you need to be comfortable with letting that breathiness be there, because if you work on eradicating it at this age, you're going to be doing long-term damage to your voice. So there has to be a little bit of allowance for some natural breathiness, no matter who you're working with and what genre you're in. Just like I didn't do that, and then I had to unlearn it. So I just wanted to throw that out as a PSA. But vocal fry, for those of you who might not know, is when you're talking in a way that is like, this is vocal fry, right? And a lot of us, women especially, well, I'm assuming men would do this too, but we want to talk lower because we associate lower with authority and command and confidence. But if you do it too much, you're going to tire out your voice prematurely. So when I had a vocal recital, my voice teacher made me talk like this for an entire week, and I hated it. So
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I would just say,
I'm not talking this week.
I would say no to that.
Yeah.
I'm disobedient. Was it Rachel? Did you have a question? Okay.
Well, so you guys were talking a little bit about blend earlier. Can you talk maybe more about like how to mix your voice or how to pull your chest up into your head and like what that sounds and looks like?
That's an incredible question.
Yeah, let me think about how to answer that. Okay, so I'm gonna try singing and blending it, and then maybe I'll be able to explain what I'm doing. La 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 la. You heard the break there, right? Okay, that was really clear. Now I'm gonna try to massage it, and if there's a few different ways that you can do it. La 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 la. You could still hear the break, but it was a little different. Part of what I did is I let a little bit of air out right before I was switching into that next stage of my voice, because the air flow, the subglottic pressure needed for your chest and your head is very different, and it's actually not so much anything else as it is how you manage the air that's going to be how you manage the sound. A few different really good exercises to do is the Sirens that we did, but keeping it within a more narrow margin. La, you hear that break? That's actually good. You need to let that happen. And the more that you do that, the more your muscles are navigating and negotiating with each other to work on that. But mostly it's just a lot of breath and a lot of thinking ahead, okay? So if you have a song and it's using that area, plan ahead when you're gonna break. Decide if you wanna blend it or if you wanna make it really obvious. 9 times out of 10, the reason that I do my break is because I don't really have a choice. And I want it to sound like I did it on purpose and not because I'm running out of notes in my natural range. So you can be really, really strategic about it. Yeah.
Wow, that's a really good question, Rachel. I was actually working on a song the other day, just practicing at home, where, remember how this morning I was talking about how I loop certain sections when I'm practicing if they're not working? The issue there was that I couldn't figure out how to mix it, where to go head, where to go chest. And so I can't emphasize enough, you just have to keep working that passage. Don't wait till you're on stage to work it.
Yeah.
Make decisions, decide, okay, I'm gonna flip here, or I'm gonna, do some kind of blending exercise. I don't know how to do that, but you know what I'm saying. You make the choice so that you're not making the choice on stage, because the on-stage choice will always be some default thing that's probably not very great.
Yeah.
Informed by nerves.
Informed by nerves, for sure.
Okay, we've got you and then someone in the back. Rose?
Yeah.
Let's start with Rose, because I think I saw your hand first.
Do you have any tips on how to improve flexibility in your voice, like working on runs and riffs and
Yes.
those kinds of things?
So this is really funny because my choral director in college was a pretty much national expert on Baroque music. And if you don't know anything about Baroque music, it's like Handel's Messiah. Hallelujah. And one of the things that Baroque music has a ton of is something called Melismas. That's the melisma, and that's very flexible. But you know what's interesting about Baroque music and pop music? Is the same skills you use for melismas you use for doing Beyonce-style runs, because it requires a lot of flexibility. So ultimately, the best thing that you can do is that exercise I did earlier works with flexibility.
Which exercise?
When we're standing and we're bouncing.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to be as relaxed as possible, because a lot of the runs, like I'm just gonna do. If you try to naturally do every single note, it's going to be really hard. You have to like develop an innate trust that your vocal mechanism knows how to glide. But that's only going to happen when there's not too much tension.
I will say though, like slowing it down to hit every note is really instructive when you're trying to figure out what's going on.
There are two different things, exactly.
That app I mentioned this morning, 𝗬𝗍, is useful for singers when you isolate that lead vocal, and you can slow it down in the 𝗬𝗍 app as well. So if I've done this so many times, if there's like a lick that you hear a singer doing, you can increase the BPM by 1 like just gradually work up the speed. So at least you understand what you're trying to hit. Because if you're just trying to run notes at random, like you're gonna have your default notes that you go to, and they're probably not the same as the singer you're trying to match.
Because there's two elements to that, right? The first one is if you're struggling with, well, which notes am I supposed to do? You got to practice blues scales. So go online and listen to singers and try to match that. So the blues scale, da da da. No, I can't even think of it.
I don't know. I actually think.
pentatonic or
Isn't that pentatonic?
That's
I was gonna say
pentatonic.
most friends are pentatonic.
Yeah, I think
so. Just the
difference-
black keys on a keyboard. That's
Yeah.
the pentatonic scale. But you can move them on the white keys too if you know what you're doing.
Yeah. The only difference between pentatonic and blues is that there's a flat note in there. There's an extra note. But
I don't know how pentatonic became the scale for runs, but it's
because
what,
it works
90%.
perfectly with no matter what key you're in.
Oh, because they don't have the tension notes.
Exactly.
They don't have the 4 and the 7
And the 3.
or the 3.
So yeah, there you go. So that's why it works theoretically. So if you're working on notes, do that. If you're working on flexibility, just try to relax the tension and just do it a lot. You can even Google, this is what I would do if you really want to work on runs. Beyonce is like super mega level, right? We're probably not all going to want to start with Beyonce. Google melismatic exercises. Work on that, and surprisingly, shockingly, that will translate beautifully into your pop runs.
Takes a lot of time though.
Exactly. There's just no way around it. It's just time.
I think I've spent the last decade like trying to expand that part of my voice, and I'm not even where I want to be. I'm like 80% of where I'd want to be. So I should practice more.
Well, that's a really good question. I wish I had a better answer. So
Daphne, what's your question?
So anytime a singer has a rasp in their voice, is that natural or is that just vocal fry?
it depends on each person is different. I once worked with an 11-year-old who had like a very raspy voice, and I was like, this is so weird. But when
Like,
she
are you a
talked,
smoker,
right?
girlfriend?
But when she talked, like it was equally as raspy. And then I asked the mom, did she have surgery when she was a little kid? She did. And it was actually like her vocal cords had been damaged when she was like 6 and they were doing tonsillitis. So in that case, it's natural and it's like, lean into it, girl, like own it. You know, like this is your voice, it's so unique. Most of the time, if I hear that, I'm like, we probably need to work on making sure that's a choice and not just a result of like permanency. But it definitely depends on each person, yeah.
Yeah, I think that when I was younger, I thought raspiness was the only button I wanted to push. I wanted that sound so bad, and admitting to myself that I didn't have it was a heartbreak, but it made me a better singer to admit that I wasn't the raspy girl. I have other things, like there are other tools in the kit.
Absolutely.
And finding out which ones are best suited for your kit is like a lifelong journey.
For sure.
Rhonda,
I'm with you, Alma. I always wanted to be an 𝗚𝗎𝗃 singer, but
you got some soul though. You've got a lot of you got some rasp.
anyway, I've actually am older, and I've noticed I've had thyroid cancer twice.
Oh,
so I've been cut
Whoa.
twice, and I noticed that if I don't sing often, I mean I sing with my music all the time, but if I don't sing often, the tightness is just,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, is
Yeah.
there those same exercises that you're saying still good for that, or am I just losing it?
You're not losing it. And first of all, I will just say that I've never worked with somebody aside from that young kid who had pre-existing like issues around their vocal cords. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I do know, no matter what your circumstance, your vocal mechanism is a muscle. And if you don't work that muscle, it is going to deteriorate. I also know that the older you get, your body actually becomes more brittle. It produces less collagen and less flexibility. So it gets harder to sing. It just does. That's one of the results of time. But as long as you're singing even 5 to 10 minutes every day and you're singing in a way that feels good, it's not pushed, it doesn't hurt, it's not tense, and it's not even performatively. You're just singing in a way that feels good. You will expand you will create more longevity in your voice. So just do exactly what you're doing and keep it up.
I'm also noticing on the days where my cardio is high, like if I'm doing a good 60 minutes hard cardio, if I'm singing after that, it's just like naturally there.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow.
Because of the blood flow.
I didn't practice yesterday or today, and I just seem stronger.
Yes.
That's part of that.
The blood flow will just make it a lot easier for your muscles to work in conjunction how you want them to. So yeah, stagnancy is not good for any muscle, not even your voice. If you ever notice that when you wake up in the morning and your voice is just like, ugh, what happened all night? Were you talking? No, you hadn't been using it, so it takes a while to warm it up again.
I love my voice in the morning.
I do too, actually. You learn how to work with it, or you just don't ask of it too much of it in the morning.
Yeah. Any other fundamentals questions before we talk showmanship a little bit? I want to dig into some pet peeves, actually, of on the showmanship side. So you can think about that. I've got mine to run without the gate. But any other fundamentals questions first? Emily, do you have business cards?
Oh gosh, No.
Okay. Well, I don't want to
No,
volunteer
it's
your
fine.
information, but if you chat with her, there might be ways to connect because unlike the other instructors, Emily lives here in town.
Yeah.
And she did say she might be able to accommodate some voice lessons this summer with the understanding that it wouldn't go into the school year. But
Yeah.
she's great. I've heard her make amazing changes and some people I know personally.
Oh,
so,
thank you.
Tim is nodding because he's one of her students.
Oh no, Tim's amazing though. I don't think
Tim
we've
is
really
amazing.
changed anything except for the breathing thing. We're gonna work on your shoulders. We'll fix them one day.
Well,
In like
let's,
another 2 years.
let's dive into some, just a few stage presence / technique things. You can grab this
Yes.
guy.
Okay. Thank you.
This was a request of Michael Bierce, and I'm glad he mentioned it because it's always at the top of my mind as I've been watching you guys, especially the pop group who's skews a little bit younger. I've been seeing a lot of people holding the microphone like this. We haven't done a ton of microphone work, but so keep in mind, I'm not singling anyone out. But a lot of people, they default to this ice cream cone position. But the mic is not an ice cream cone whatsoever. And your sound guy is going to hate you if you are pointing this microphone. But it's not like everywhere around the sphere of this picks up equally. The microphone is directed to pick up what's in front of it. So if you're doing this, it's catching the air in front of you. And your sound guy has to crank you up to have you be heard. You might be afraid of how hot the mic sounds when you do it like this, where the ice cream cone falls off to the floor. But it's your sound guy's job to adjust you. And if you need to pull away a little bit, you can, but at least it's pointing into the right place and catching the right frequency. So I'm actually going to pass this around and have everybody just try that position. Some of you, you're already there, and some of you, this is your default. So just see how that feels, and then make a mental note, hey, I gotta let the ice cream cone fall.
Because your sound guy can only adjust you if you keep it there long enough. If you do it for 2 seconds and you pull away, you didn't give him enough time to like figure out even what to do.
It's true. Yeah.
You're making his life very hard.
Yep. Michael, any other notes related to that from what you've seen with your own worship team, maybe?
No, that's the main thing. Because there's a diaphragm in a microphone that your air hits that diaphragm, and if you're going over the top of it when you're holding it like an ice cream cone, it's not hitting that properly. And so when you have it up to your mouth, that's when you get the best sound from it.
Yeah. Actually, I want to demo this too with a live mic. Let me turn the sound system on real quick. Moss, you had a question?
How I learned it was to always keep it like parallel with the floor, and so that
Oh, yeah.
picks up
Yeah.
your head
Yeah.
as well, so you're not like leaning down and doing it.
That's a great
So
idea.
it
Yeah.
picks up your head
Yep.
as well and keeps your
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Speaking of what Michael just shared about the directionality and what's happening, you can hear the difference here versus here. This is much hotter than this is. You lose a lot of sound. You also get, I want to demonstrate, when you get closer to the mic, this is a little too hot right now, so my instincts keep kicking me back. When you go closer, you get more of those low tones. And when you back up, it picks up more of this treble. So not only do you want to be pointing it at you, but you want to have it at a happy place. It can be tricky when there's a monitor and the monitor like doesn't match what's in the house. So it's a dance, and you'll learn more through experience what's comfortable in that area. But I always say eat the mic. It's better that you're too close than too far, because if you have a sound guy who's worth his salt, he'll turn you down. He can only turn you up so far.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah. And then when you hear feedback, a lot of time, in my experience, it's usually because the singers are afraid of the mic and they're doing this, and the sound guy's trying to pick you up.
Yeah, so he cranks it all the
Yeah.
way up, nothing
So-
more to give, and then it gets pointed toward a speaker, which is how you get feedback.
Yep.
And you're like, that totally ruined everyone's experience.
Remember,
Did
if you're
everyone get a
holding them,
chance holding this? Wow, it's like our little peace stick we just passed.
remember, if you're holding the mic and you're singing, it's your job to be heard. So don't try to be
Yes.
modest. It's your job to be heard. Be heard.
I will say the caveat to that is background singers, you want to be aware of where you're appearing in the mix. So I know in the rock group, we had some issues with like certain people just not even appearing in the monitor, so it's maybe not the best example. But some people in that group should have backed off a little bit, noticing that they were coming in really hot and they weren't the lead. You should never be overwhelming the lead vocal. Lead vocal, be as loud as you want. Backgrounds, always be listening to where you fall in the mix.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I never have to stand and do this because I am always behind the piano.
Yeah.
So like, I'm in a
Lucky.
I know. I hate standing in front of people. and
Really?
sing. Oh, it's terrifying.
It's pretty vulnerable. I don't
Yeah.
get too much practice on it anymore because I usually play with an instrument too.
Yeah.
Any
Trying
pet
to think.
peeves? Stage stuff?
People who play with the chord like incessantly.
Oh.
Please don't do that. Also, because like you might create like sound issues if
Damage
you
your
don't
cord.
have a great cord, you could like the sound. You have to be intentional with where you place your hands, and so practice in front of a mirror.
Yes, like the gestures you're gonna do.
Yes.
For sure. So what I said about video earlier, related to like the shoulders and the tension, that pertains as much, if not even more, to your gestures. So the decision-making process I mentioned for flipping from head to chest, where you're gonna do that in the song, do the same thing with gestures. Print out your lyrics. Be like, okay, I have a job to tell the arc of this story. So at the beginning, I'm gonna be pretty demure and like to myself. And maybe I'm holding the mic, or maybe I just keep it on the stand at the beginning. And I'm not gonna raise my hand once until I hit verse 2. Unless the song is like pretty bouncy and there needs to be some kind of motion. But think about what the song is saying and what your job is as an actor who's acting out that song to some extent. And use gestures sparingly and intentionally.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a great, like what you saw the other day with when me and the boys played 𝗀𝗃𝗃. Perfect example of what happens when you're not prepared. I didn't have anything prepared for that. So that was just freewheeling. Like I'm just going off of like what I've practiced for other songs. But if I had that song a month in advance and I knew I was gonna be doing it, you better believe every move I made on that stage would have been predetermined.
It's choreographed, it really is. If you don't know what to do and you're with a band, it's really fun to be able to look at a band member and like play off of their energy. But
especially if he's your husband, which you
I
have.
do this all the time. He hates it. He's like, don't look at me, don't look at me. And I'm like talking to him the whole time and teasing him. It's great. I like making him uncomfortable. I'm very good at it. But maybe make sure they're cool with it before you do it, unless you're married to them, and then you're fine. But like, take advantage of your space, take advantage of your surroundings, the people in your surroundings, take advantage of your audience. Like, one of my absolute favorite things to do when I'm singing my own songs, and I have like these little inside moments that are so funny to me. I love making eye contact with somebody and just being like, did you catch that? And it's just like, they're always like, oh, why are you looking at me?
Hold your gaze on theirs too.
Oh, yeah.
Because like, I mean, it feels so awkward, but if you videotape yourself, you'll realize, oh my God, I'm doing way too much.
Yeah.
And so the more you can just like build an intense moment, like I'm looking at Karen right now, it's very special when you play it back. It might not feel good to you in the moment, but it's very, very special.
And it's something that the rest of the audience really enjoys to see, because that's how they feel like you're like really there with them.
Paying attention to them.
Yeah. You're not just there for yourself, you're like there for them. You're bringing them with you, and eye contact in a perfect place does that. So.
Do you plan out your stage banter at all?
God, no.
Really?
But
Oh yeah,
like,
we're not the same in this.
Okay, do I plan out anything? Usually no.
So listen to her for vocal technique and listen to me for like
seriously. I need to take lessons from her on planning out bouncer. It's something that I genuinely hate and I avoid, and I'm terrified of it.
You hate banter?
It's so scary. It's so scary.
For my first show I ever did when I was like 17, right out of high school, I wrote out every single word of what I was trying to say, which was a mistake in the opposite direction of not being prepared. I was over-prepared. And you can understand why I would do that as like someone who'd never played a show before. But until you are reading off a script while there's a live audience there, you don't realize how awkward and incredibly weird that is. Over time, that's another thing that like only through time has really come to be comfortable. And now at this point, I don't plan banter at all. But if I know it's like a special occasion, just like I plan out my song transitions in my set, like to make sure things flow one into another, I'll think to myself, okay, now would be a good time to tell the story about living in Chicago, or now would be a good time to talk about that breakup, or maybe I was just having a conversation with someone before I got to the gig that I could talk about that and tie it into what I'm about to play. So yeah, so it's a little more free-flowing, but only through some degree of preparation and stumbling through like over-choreographing. Did I come to this place?
Don't tell jokes is my one lesson that I took away, unless you're really confident. My first gig that I did was for this like really fun coffee shop, and it was like super hipster, and I was so awkward that I was like, what would be good is if I told a joke making fun of hipsters. It did not land well. So don't do that. Don't alienate your audience.
Half the time they're not even paying attention to you either. So like if you're waiting for the laugh or the applause, like it's great if you get it, but probably not.
It was a weird evening show, and so everyone was like actually like they paid a cover charge. They were like so engaged, and I was like, and I told a bad joke, so it was even worse. If it's a coffee shop gig where nobody's really paying attention, maybe you could get away with it, but yeah.
I tried to do less banter when no one's paying attention.
That's also, yeah.
Another thing you don't want to do is talk about how you have a cold.
Yes.
Or how you just learned the song, so sorry if I mess up.
Don't make apologies for
Ooh,
yourself.
So dumb. Don't tune your guitar on stage. Make sure it's tuned before. We all make this mistake, though. Everybody does it at some point.
Just default to gratitude. If you don't really know what to say, just default to gratitude.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like, I'm so excited to be here with you guys. This is such an amazing time. You've been such a wonderful audience. I have one of my favorite songs coming up, and I just hope you guys resonate with it as much as I do. You know, just stuff like that, right?
I'm stealing that tip. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. I hope you guys remember that one and write it down. What's up, Rhonda?
How about when you're singing and you completely don't know your next line?
Oh.
Like, you don't have the words in front of you?
Yeah, what I do is, of course, I fake it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice when you have a band to follow you,
Mm-hmm.
and you just don't make it known that you messed up.
You try.
You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
hum along, or you start, but that just happened to me recently, and it's happened more, so, but going back and looking at the video, you didn't even notice.
Yeah.
But I always have to have the music in front of me, and I did, but I went to swipe the iPad, and it swiped the
Oh no.
swiped the
Oh, that's a
Technology.
nightmare.
and I was
Well, that's an argument for memorizing everything in advance, like well in advance.
I've been
Oh no.
singing the same
Yeah.
song forever, but
I
it
get
was
it.
funny because I looked at 𝗀𝗍𝗃, and
Yeah. Yeah.
she just and it was just the eye contact. It was like
Mhm. Looking at a lyric sheet will
where's she
throw you
going,
off, man.
or
That's-
follow her.
yeah.
but-
Yeah, you do what you can. If you're with the band, obviously there's no choice but to keep going because
Yes.
they're not going to stop for you.
Yes. Don't stop.
I don't know. This has kind of evolved over time.
Does it happen to you though?
Oh, God.
Definitely.
Yeah, all the time.
100%. It happened. I dropped a word. I had to change a few words in 𝗪𝗏. And so not only was I trying to remember the actual words, but I was trying to remember my little edit words so I wasn't talking about stumbling out of bars in a church.
Ah.
Yeah. So it definitely happens. You try to stick the landing however you can.
Yeah.
And sometimes on a solo gig, you stop and you giggle and you're like, you know,
Yeah.
let me start that line again.
There's two ways
It's
to
okay.
play it. You
Yeah.
either just keep going or you giggle and you just laugh at yourself in a very endearing way
Mhm.
and you don't apologize.
Mhm.
And you
Never
don't
apologize.
Stop, right?
Yeah.
You just don't make it
Yeah.
known. You just let them just keep going. Right?
Whatever you gotta do, man. Any questions about showmanship before we wrap up? Stage fright?
Does anybody in here play an instrument while they are singing, or is you a couple of you? Yeah. So when you're playing an instrument and you're singing at the same time, obviously your instrument requires a lot of attention. So you want to plan out spots where you can intentionally not be looking at your instrument, okay? Because you don't want to watch somebody go up and play just their instrument and just be like singing into their piano the whole time or just looking at their fingers for the, you have to be like, okay, this part is easy. I can look out and smile. So yeah, unless you're like extremely 110% confident in your instrument and in all the songs you're playing, make sure you've planned out a spot in each song where you can at least like intentionally make that eye contact and engagement with the audience.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Jessie.
Do you have any sort of kind of ritual that you do when you have nerves before you get on
Ooh.
stage? Like, is there something that can help you to relax before you go on?
That's
Like,
a great question. Do you have
physically,
anything?
mentally?
Yeah.
Is there an action you do, or?
I think I'm at a point now where it's not really nerve-wracking. So it's hard to really speak to that. I will say I do like having sorry technique girl, but I do like having a drink before I sing.
I was gonna say that. Alcohol.
Like having a little bit. I'm not a drinker. I'm really not a big drinker at all. I never have more than like 2. But I would probably just one beer or one little vodka water would just sweeten the pot a little bit. Yeah, it's nice and it's more I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't even consider it a ritual. I don't require it, but it's nice to have. And then you feel like you're part of the crowd that's also probably drinking a little bit too, and so you get to kind of, cheers.
There's a new, the new thing is breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing to calm your heart is called I think it's called the 3-3-3. So you 3 breaths in. Oh yeah, you should know.
Yeah, you're a professional breather.
And hold for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
you free out, and it will literally drop
Yeah.
your heart rate.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I don't really get nervous anymore, but I did used to. And a couple things that helped me is I had this ritual of eating McDonald's French fries.
Nice.
Because the salt and the grease like just really lubricated my voice. So that was like, I just could like a French fry and just like eat it. That was great. And then, you know, water, and then I'm hydrated. And the other thing that I would do is I would just take a second to be by myself, and I would just remember why I'm doing this. Why do you sing? Why? Because you enjoy it. Because you have something to say, and you do, and you're trying to share it with people. And so just stepping onto that stage saying, I'm here to connect with you. Not, I'm sorry, I'm uncomfortable, this is scary, am I gonna be able to, you just go up there with a different goal, and that always helped center me, so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Real quick, there's a white Buick in the parking lot with its hazards going. I don't know if that's any of you guys,
Oh.
but cars die.
Not me.
Okay.
What's the name of the license plate?
I didn't get that. Somebody just.
Is it a white Buick? Good luck.
Yeah. Did I see another hand? Oh, yeah.
So if, let's say that you weren't like completely prepared for a concert
Oh, yeah.
and you don't feel super confident in like knowing everything, so what's the best way to prepare? Like if you only have like 5 minutes before the concert, like what's the best way to go over things?
Two things. Number one, fake it till you make it. The more you fake it, the more it'll make it. That's like the motto of my life. Fake it till you make it. And second of all, if you can, take your songs a little bit slower. The more time you give your brain to think, the more likely you'll have a good outcome. So slow things down a little bit.
Really hard to do when you're nervous, though.
Totally, which is
People
part of the
rush.
reason you should slow down, because then you'll
Yeah.
probably be at a normal
At a
tempo
normal, yeah.
instead of your super fast one.
Yeah. Man, you never want to be caught in that position, Daphne. It's especially at your age that I would bend over backwards to make sure I'm never in that position if I were you
Yeah.
at this age. When you're 22, you'll probably be able to wing it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, it's hard.
You're gonna have to crash and burn a little bit.
Yes,
Everyone does.
it does teach you a good lesson. You're like, I will never do that again
Yeah.
next time. And we have a couple more. I think you, Daphne's mom, right?
Yes.
And then Isaiah, did you still have a question as well?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get Daphne's mom and then Isaiah.
Well, the thing is, sometimes it's my fault. Because I would like to showcase her.
Oh.
And sometimes, you know, part of the culture, like, hey, she has a nice voice.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, you go, you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
And she hates me for that.
Ah!
And that's why I said, okay, why don't you want to sing? And she always told me, Mom, you caught me in surprise, and I do not want that.
Oh, then
So-
that's not your fault at all. There is a time, actually Rhonda was there, it was the karaoke at Lucas's house. I think that was the first time I'd sung karaoke in half a decade. I don't do karaoke because it's so spur of the moment. I went into the bathroom before that and I like found a song, okay, Michael Jackson, Way You Make Me Feel, it's kind of in my range. I'm like humming in the bathroom. I go in the bathroom, like here are some gestures I can do. Here's the arc of the song. This instrumental break is gonna be kind of awkward. What should I do in that part? To kind of just do a little quick freshen up on it. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, if it's that kind of situation, it's probably low key enough. It doesn't matter. You should just have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Just have fun.
That's another thing too, like if you're doing a song where there's like a big instrumental break, or like if you're trying to do it in the style of a certain singer, but like there's a scatting part, but you can't scat. Like how do you fill the space if it's just like empty? And there's like a long instrumental part.
What is the setting? Are you like in a house?
Yeah.
Are you backyard? Is it well, you're not at a bar.
We hope.
We hope.
I mean, it might be like karaoke, or if like, I don't know, you chose that song to perform for something. But
If it's
like,
karaoke?
you're not like doing your
How's everybody doing tonight? You guys having fun?
Yeah.
You guys having a good time? Who likes Michael Jackson here? Let's
Yeah.
hear the last chorus. So
Yeah.
you could be like, you could hype man it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna fit for everything, obviously scatting.
If you
but
can't scat, don't scat.
yeah.
Until you've practiced,
Yeah.
please.
But yeah, that's tough. That's a tough thing about karaoke. When you're self-accompanying, you can remove those breaks, and I do.
Yeah. But the truth is, if it's that kind of scenario where it's unavoidable and it's going to happen, you just try to be positive and be entertaining and don't push yourself too far. And maybe just like to choose things that aren't going to put you on the spot like that if you can. I'd say avoid it if you can, you know.
One reason I hate karaoke is because I can't take the arrangement.
Oh yeah, and then you just like sound like you don't know what you're doing, and you're like,
Yeah.
I do know what I'm doing, but this one's wrong. So.
All right, a couple minutes left. Isaiah, and then Moss.
So I was wondering, what if I don't have any vodka to use?
Sugar.
What about hot tea?
Sugar, hot tea.
Yeah, I think that's where the tea and the breathing.
Mostly it's the ritual of I'm doing something special for myself, and it doesn't have to be alcoholic in order for the mental, like, okay, we're doing something special, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tea is very good. And avoid any energy drinks before.
Yeah, not the move.
Yeah, caffeine is bad for your voice, unfortunately. Not like I've never used it to get through in a pinch, but
Everything's bad for something.
exactly. But I was gonna say, like, some people, you know, you want to relax, you want to drink chamomile tea. Some people might need to lean into the nerves a little bit and just like have some sugar, like literally, like it depends on, sugar actually calms me down. So you experiment, see what works for you that makes you feel like centered is the best word. You're not going to get over your nerves unless you just do it for a really, really long time, like years. But even when you're nervous, you can still be centered. So trying to find that balance.
Yeah, go find a bathroom somewhere and
Yeah.
just be really silly and crazy and do whatever you gotta do.
If you're nervous.
Yes, leave the room right now. Get out of here.
Yeah.
No. All right, Moss, and then we can wrap up. And if you have other questions for me or Emily, we could talk later. All right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say for the karaoke thing, I've seen some guys actually like make a choreography beforehand to fill it, and it was so silly, but it was amazing. Like one of the best moments of college that I've seen.
Oh, that's
Those guys
yeah.
like singing California Girls, doing the karaoke
Yes.
dance together.
Love it.
So,
During the
Yeah.
rap breakdown?
Yeah.
That's a terrible rap breakdown, by
know.
the way. It's so bad.
I
No one
know.
would want to do that.
Just a bunch of baseball guys just like bumping butts
Perfect.
together. and
Oh yeah, that's what karaoke's all about.
Yeah.
Honestly, just having fun. Well, speaking of defaulting to gratitude, thank you, Emily, for being here, and
Yeah,
thanks
my
to you guys
pleasure.
for being patient and listening and bringing your questions.
Yeah, thanks guys so much. Thank you.